Brazos County will meet regular session June the 7th, 2016, 10 a.m. Commissioner's Courtroom, County Administration Building 200, South Texas Avenue, Suite 106. First item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Invocation of Pledge of Allegiance to the U.S. and Texas flag, Chapter G.H. Jones, and Committee.
Dear God, we come to thee this morning, thank you for this day, thanking you for all of your blessings that you bestowed upon us. Thank you for being God, the one that we can always rely and depend upon, the one who always there when we need him most. Pray for our county judges, our county commissions, as we do business for Brazos County, direct them, lead them, and them always in the right direction and in the right path. Pray for the Brazos County Court, its family, protection for America. We pray for our troops. Dear God, we pray for all of our law enforcement officers whose lives are in jeopardy each day. Now, God, be with us throughout this day. Everybody says amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Chapter Jones, Commissioner. Second item on the agenda is call for citizens' input and/or concerns. Yes, Michelle, certainly, come up.
I was just going to give everybody a heads up of where we are in terms of damages from the May storm. I visited with Jerry Henry, who's the MC for City of Bryan this morning, and they are currently have a roster of 151 homes that have been impacted by the tornado, 336 currently that have been affected by flood. The county is working on their list as well, a county list of damages to homes and properties in the unincorporated areas of Brazos County. We have approximately 10 homes, countless roads. We're still working with Road and Bridge to get an assessment of those damages. And just to give a heads up to everybody, there will be representatives from SBA, FEMA, and the Texas Department of Management going out with Melissa Perez and Kim Hinton with Road and Bridge tomorrow to view some of the areas that have been so heavily impacted. They'll be visiting with Brazos County in the morning and then visiting with City of Bryan in the afternoon.
Thank you, Michelle, for your hard work.
Thanks for keeping up on the weather forecast too during all that. We appreciate that.
Any call for citizens with our concerns?
Judge, I'm making one announcement.
Yeah, sure.
You may remember Dr. Dale Fry, our former Deputy Director of Health Service, retired a few months ago. Dr. Magyar right here, replaced her starting last week. So glad to have her. She was a former professor at Tennessee State University in the psych department for over 6 years. She actually did her dissertation, her doctorate dissertation, several years ago at the juvenile department. So she's already familiar with us and really up to trauma. Our kids have, and really female-specific programs and initiatives. So we're lucky to have her, Dr.
Is that for me, Dr. Vance?
M-A-G-Y-A-R.
Okay. Thank you. Welcome.
Glad you're here.
Welcome.
Any other input and/or concerns? Hearing none, we'll go to brief presentations and discussions. Presentation by Ross Hickman on the results of the Chamber Day 2016.
Thank you, Judge. Commissioners, it's always an honor to be with you, and I want to first begin by thanking you for the ongoing relationships that we have with you, and I think our economic development agreement has worked very well for us, and certainly hope you feel the same way about it. I've also got our Vice President Glenn Brewer with us, and he'll have a few words to say as well at the end. But in front of you are the results from the Chamber Day, which is part of our economic development agreement with you that you support, and then we bring the results to you before we release them publicly. And the first sheet, page 1, I've actually gone back to, since we started doing the survey, normally I just give you year-to-year comparison. We actually see a decrease this year from the data in the most recent year, but if you look at the entire history, it's not the lowest we've had. But as you can see, sales, we still 59% of our businesses saw an increase in sale and 22% the same. So we only had 14% that had a decrease. But that's still down from what we've seen the last couple of years. And then in number of employees, are you expecting to hire or expecting to decrease your staff in the next year? There's a slight decrease of the number of folks that are expecting to hire, 45% compared to 49% last year. But again, that's higher than 2012 and 2013. And then how do you expect our local economy to do in the next 12 months? 75% of our businesses expect it to increase, down a little bit from the 84 and 83% we saw the last 2 years, but up from the 2012, 2013. So in those three categories, am I alarmed? No, but I do think next year will be really interesting to see whether it's a trend or whether it's just a little blip that you can sometimes experience. Also, we don't go to the same businesses, and geographically we try to go to new businesses. So I think some of the statistics, I mean, when you're looking at a 45 to 49% difference on expecting to hire in the year, it's possible the mix of businesses this year would have been 45 or less last year. So those things are really hard for us to put a finger on. But overall, I think I don't want us to lose sight in the fact that still we've got almost 60% of our businesses saw an increase in sales. 22% are still the same. We still have almost half our business looking at hiring in the coming year, and 3/4 of our businesses are optimistic about the economy. From a quality of workforce standpoint, actually we saw a little bit increase in that. The number of folks that found the workforce to be good, and this is in hiring, when they have not their current workforce, but when they were looking to hire. 43% is good, 32% saw it as average. Those two add to 75% a year ago when the two added to 71%. Outside of business, how would you rate the quality of life? We actually added another category because we had people telling us excellent when they didn't have that choice. So we actually put that in there this year. And you can see 55% of our folks believe our quality of life is excellent and 39% good. 1% poor, and you know, I'd love to have a chance to talk to them because I don't know that I understand that. And then page 2 is just taking the same data and showing it to you like I've shown it to you in the past. It doesn't have the history of any more than this year and last year. I really found the first sheet to be a little more useful for me. Now, if you'll go to page 3, this is where we break it down by industry, and you know, I think it's kind of interesting because even though overall it was down some, we still had some of our areas like financial services who saw almost a 10% increase in sales over what they saw a year ago, and also, healthcare and wellness saw a 5% increase over a year ago. But you can see the others, and I've mainly focused on the ones that there were a large number of folks that we visited. You know, construction clearly down a good bit on the folks that saw increase in sales. Manufacturing is down about 13%. Restaurants are down a little bit, not a lot, 3%. And tourism is down substantially. So that'll give you a feel for where the increases and decreases are in this category. You'll go to page 4. Again, we have some of the industry that saw an increase. For instance, again, financial services, their number of folks expecting to hire has increased. Restaurant and food and services is up slightly. 3%. And then services professionals, about the same. They're up 1%, but it's not a dramatic increase there. And then several of them had a decline, but none of them really substantial. Most of them are just a few percentage points of decline on expecting to hire people in the coming 12 months. Page 5, we'll talk to you about the local economy, and interestingly enough, this one is down about 8 basis points, I think is how the bankers would say it. But only a couple of them were actually up. Tourism, which saw a pretty good drop in, the increase in sales, actually increased their optimism about the economy in the 12 months over the coming year. But most of the rest of them are down or about the same. Then if you'll go to page 6, you'll see that there are folks that believe the applicants are good is kind of up and down across the board. There's some saw a little bit of an increase, some saw a decrease. Interestingly enough, construction is a pretty good decrease. A year ago, they rated the number of applicants as 46% were good. This year, only 25%. So they've seen a real decrease in the quality of the pool that they're trying to hire from. Financial services up, healthcare and wellness up. Manufacturing, another one that's really substantially down from 36%, 12%. And then the lower categories, restaurant, retail, services, both other and professional, all saw an increase over what they saw in the pool last year. And tourism, the slight, they're up 1%, but I call that basic unchanged. And then the last page 7 talks about rating the quality of life, and most of those have relatively minor changes in them over what we've experienced in the previous years. Overall, one thing, we had 783 responses, which is the most we've ever had, and I think all of you would agree if you went out and did a survey and had a pool that large, that it's a good pool. We actually visited almost 950 businesses this year. All of them, the person that when we walk in, the manager may not be there, and the person that we talk to may not, for one reason or another, they elect not to take the survey. So we don't try to force that at all. But I'm really pleased that we're close to 800 in one day. I don't know of any other chamber that's out doing that kind of thing where they visit businesses and try to get a pulse of the local economy. And I really feel like if you look at, as we continue to build history with this, it's going to even help us measure things better, and I think it's also going to help us determine when we're actually starting to see the beginning of a trend, or when we might be just looking at a little blip radar screen. I would certainly open it up for any questions that any of you may have, and Commissioner Cawley, I appreciate you coming and speaking on behalf of the county at both the morning and the noon session, and Commissioner Mallard, I know you've been at some of these in the past, and I appreciate the fact that we've had that kind of support from the Commissioner's Court. And I think it's good for all of our volunteers. We had, Glenn, about 150 to a little over 150 volunteers that went out into the community, maybe 170 or so. It's a record. Record number of volunteers this year. And I think we'll see that trend continue because the people give us good feedback about their experience while they're out there. And I think it's good for them to see their Commissioner's Court there present.
It's been an honor to participate, and each year, I have to tell you, it's more and more a well organized and well-planned effort. So it's certainly worth our time and effort, and I appreciate the opportunity to serve with you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we're learning as we go, and each year we try to improve it, and we'll make some changes next year to try to improve it. And I think one of the things we've really worked on this year is trying to get into some areas where we haven't been before. It's easy to go into an area where there's a lot of businesses altogether, and so we're challenging ourselves to go where it may not be quite as easy, but trying to touch some of those businesses. And again, that may explain some of the some of the change. And I think next year, I'm gonna be very interested in what the results are next year.
Well, Royce, and it's a great report on, you know, everything that you do and everything that we want to tell you that I know you're getting close to not being part of the chamber. And I want to tell you for myself that I feel like what an outstanding job that you've done with the Chamber of Commerce. It's one of the best that, you know, that there could possibly be. That's why all the other cities call and want to know how you do it. I want to thank you for everything that you've done and for being a great friend and partner in Brazos County. And I know you're going to stay around, but we're going to miss you for not being here at the chamber. And myself, and I'm sure the rest of the county commissioners, we wish you and Mary the very best.
Thank you.
What a great job you've done.
Thank you.
We're going to miss you.
I appreciate that more than you know. It's been a hard decision for me because I'm one of those people that truly enjoys getting up every day and not going to work, but going in to do what I have the privilege of doing.
We appreciate everything you've
Thank you.
done.
Thank you.
I want to echo the same. I also heard this morning that you and Mary have been married and celebrating your long anniversary.
Well,
Congratulations.
thank you. Yeah, this past Friday was our 54th wedding anniversary, and I heard, you know, she wanted to go to the baseball game, and I went.
And you and Lloyd are pretty close because he has 59.
58.
It's close to 58.
Well, it does tell you the kind of woman I'm married to that would go to an Aggie baseball game on our anniversary, so.
She's a great lady.
But I've had to promise her everything. It's been 54 wonderful years for me. I'm not sure, may feel like 108 to her. Thank you so much for the comment. Well, let me introduce our Vice President, who is the person responsible for our legislative affairs. And we did want to give you a brief report of our Washington trip. We may expand on our purpose here a little bit. And again, we've had the support of the county so much in that. We appreciate that more than you know. And I think Glenn will talk about how important that is to us.
Yeah, thank you, Roy. So, I just want a quick second just to tell Brazos County and the Commissioners Court how much we appreciate your support and involvement in our legislative plans. You know, we met with every single Texas congressional representative and on the Senate side, and we brought to them the concerns of the local citizens of Brazos County and our businesses. And they told us in every single office again and again the fact that we come up there with a united voice from Brazos County, the city of Bryan, the city of College Station, Texas A&M, and Blinn means so much more than people coming there individually with different things and concerns, that we've brought together what we think is a united effort, that really means a lot, and we really appreciate your help with that. And I also wanted to thank specifically Commissioner Cawley, Irma. She comes up there with her leadership, her expertise is so important to us, and I just know that all citizens of Brazos County and the Commission will be proud of the effort that she puts in with our D.C. trip, and I wanted to thank her personally. And once again, as Roy said, just thank you for your involvement. It's a lot, and the businesses of the community appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Thank both of y'all. And just like everybody has said, Royce, we appreciate all the service you've given us with the chambers.
Well, thank you. It's been such a privilege for me, believe me. And I truly have enjoyed the relationship I've had with the Commissioners Court. You folks do great work. We're blessed to have you here. Thank you.
Thanks, Roy.
Okay, we will consider and take action on agenda items 4 through 17. Number 4 is request for out-of-state travel for jail administrator Wayne Dickey to attend the Jailers Research Network meeting in Aurora, Colorado, hosted by the Bureau of Justice Statistics, with travel dates June 5 through 8, 2016. All travel expenses paid for by the Bureau of Justice Statistics.
Move for approval.
Motion made, second. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 5, consider and take consideration of changes to capital asset policy that include adding intangible assets, additions, and improvements to capital assets, and impairments, insurance recoveries, and asset acquired for sale. Also includes clarification of computer software asset definition, depreciation, and capitalization threshold, and change recommended recommended by external auditors. Katie, you want to speak to that?
Last week, we dealt with the capitalization dollar threshold. This week, I threw everything else in. There's been changes. GASB has, issued some, pronouncements on intangible assets, which we didn't have in our capital asset policy. They've also, our outside auditors, had some concerns about, us not moving the different phases of the courthouse from construction in progress to completed and begin depreciation. As the phases were completed, we kept calling it one big project, but due to the amount of time that it's taken, it's better to go ahead and consider it finished at the end of the phase when we get the certificate of occupancy. And so the capital asset policy changes, you should have a red line copy. I tried to keep that as minimal as I could, but then there's also a completed copy that has all the information in it. Most of the changes won't affect very many. The only thing that you might need to look at, I've had to ask myself several times, is this an intangible asset? And there's a few things that could go both ways. Right of way would be an intangible, if you think about it, but we've had that on our books for a long time. So, if you have any questions, I can answer those as best I can.
Questions? Okay. I'll need a motion.
I'll move.
Change capital asset policy. Discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Okay, thanks, Katie. Number 6 is approval of the following risk management reimbursement program applications. A, employee safety training program supplies in the amount of $14,611.57, and B, taser replacement for Constable Precinct 1 in the amount of $4,440.95.
I'll move for approval A and B.
Second?
Discussion. These were some grants that were made available by Texas Association of Counties, potential. I mean, that doesn't mean they get them, but we're applying for things that we felt like there was a need. No more discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carried. Number 7 is approval of the interlocal agreement between Brazos County, City of College Station in support of 2016 Burn Justice Assistance Grant Program. Made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Number 8 is award of contract number 2016-191 mail services, and I believe the only one bid on it is Delucia Mail Service, and so that's the recommendation for approval. Motion made, seconded to approve Delucia Mail Service. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 9 is acceptance of drainage easement from Richard and May Della Santina and Dorothy Nell Della Santina, co-trustees of Santina Revocable Trust, 2.19 acres of land. This property is needed in order to construct a drainage channel for the extension of Greensburg Trail to I&GN Road located in Second. Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 10, the final plat of Heritage Lake Estates, Phase 2, 39.407 acres, 27 lots, common area, .419 acres right-of-way dedication, Richard Perry Lease, AE-44, Brian E.T.J., Brazos County, sites located precinct 2.
Move approval.
Second?
Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 11 is approval of Treasurer's Report for April 2016. Motion made, second. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 12 is application for the following. A, Bank of Madison bill of payment of $5.25.
Move for approval, A through D.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, A through D, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 13 is budget amendments. Budget amendments FY 15/16, 36.1 through 36.4.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 14 is person change of status.
Move approval.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 15 is payment needs. Claims to be paid by Brazos County, claim number 7145110 through claim number 7145306.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. We'll get down to number 18, Sheriff's Report on Inmate Population. Sheriff.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners, beautiful sunshiny day.
I mean,
So, 648, keeps going up. We have, 51 with ankle monitors and 16 are pending.
okay. Thank you, Sheriff. Number 19 is announcement of interest items and possible future agenda topics. Hearing none. Number 20 is call for citizens' input and/or concerns.
Judge, just remind the court we workshop this afternoon,
Okay. Workshop. Health,
Pharmacy.
Pharmacy plan.
Pharmacy.
Do you remember, is it down here or?
It's down here.
We will move back up to number 16 and convene into executive session for number A is executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.087 to discuss or deliberate economic development negotiations, and B, executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.074 to discuss the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment duties, discipline, or dismissal of the position of county elections administrator, and we no longer need C today. So, first it'll be for Candy, the attorneys. I think that's all right now for these two, and then we'll, it's 10:29.
out there, and all the commissioners over there are fighting those roads over there, so.
It's terrible. I mean, our roads are pretty good, but tough area, sure.
Okay, we're coming out of the executive session, it's 10:47, and
My
I'll
husband
make
works
a
for
motion
precinct too, so.
that we approve the personnel action form for the elections administrator, Trudy Hancock, to be hired at $60,000 a year. Hire date will be July 1st, 2016.
And I second.
Motion made, second, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? agenda is to adjourn. Thanks, y'all.
Mine.
Who's looking out for you?
Uh-huh.